Mrbeast is reaching a point where he can't click off his videos. His last 20 videos got more views than the Super Bowl and World Cup combined. But what really seals the deal is a blueprint that Mrbeast uses to make these successful videos. This Mrbeast blueprint follows a 5-stage formula that gets him to the view count that he's at today. This blueprint is what Mrbeast spent over a decade of his life trying to build up to. And I'm gonna reveal it all in this video. Starting with the core foundation, the base of it all, his master ideas. It's no surprise to you, me, or your dog that Mrbeast's ideas are natural winners. But that doesn't mean that you have to jump off a plane or blow up a Lamborghini to get views on YouTube. The secret behind good ideas goes much deeper than just that. You can see videos that get millions of views with like very simple concepts. The trick to Mrbeast's master ideas is a 4-step procedure I'll call the Mrbeast idea wheel of success. The first step of this wheel for Mrbeast himself is to think,
what do you think YouTube wants? Like,
he talks a lot about how he wants videos that are
so intrinsically interesting that it's just gonna fuck with them if they don't click on it.
He wants ideas he knows himself that no one can go by without watching. And so a good little trick for this is to become the viewer of your own content, which Mrbeast himself is actually notorious for doing.
If you want to make great YouTube videos, you just watch YouTube.
You gotta be a little retarded.
So like a 2-hour movie, you could watch like 20 YouTube videos and you get exponentially smarter doing that, you know?
By doing this, he's able to see trends and concepts before the audience even knows they want them. This makes the video much more interesting to the viewer rather than it being some foreign concept that no one gives a shit about. But most creators fall into the trap of becoming dependent on other creators for their content. And so Mrbeast uses unique tactics to make sure that his videos are unique and fresh and don't copy anyone else.
If you flip through a dictionary and just like if you pop up on a word prison, I think that video right there, like I saw the word prison, I was like, dude, I should just go to prison for a day. That'd be a banger. You know, it's like,
as all of us know, Mrbeast's ideas are one of a kind, and his process to get to these ideas is to work backwards from crazy concepts and slowly turn them into reality. This keeps his content different from others whilst also making it harder to replicate. But Mrbeast does occasionally copy ideas from other creators, except he has a very genius strategy for actually doing this. Mrbeast always adds his own twist to his videos that have already been done before. For example, his Squid Game video was a concept that had been done by like very large creators before, but by adding his own twist and sparkle to it, he was able to blow it up to his most popular video despite it being a stolen idea. By adding your own style, opinion, or something unique to the video, you avoid copying others, but more importantly, distinguish yourself, which builds a brand and gives the viewer a reason to click on your video over the others. But the most valuable thing Mrbeast has when it comes to ideas is his own experience. By being on YouTube for over a decade, Mrbeast can easily identify winning ideas over losing one. This instinct was developed through years of trial and error, but we can try to fast track this process by uploading more videos and getting a larger database of knowing what works and what doesn't. In the beginning stages of YouTube, you should try to upload as many videos as possible. Take it from Mrbeast himself.
Is make 100 videos and improve something every time. Do that. And then on your 101st video, we'll start talking. My first 500 videos didn't deserve to get 1 million views. Like, there's a reason they didn't. They're terrible.
But don't fall into the trap of YouTube perfection. I'm guilty of this trap myself, of obsessing over a video for weeks just to make it perfect. In the early game of YouTube, perfectionism is the killer of progress. So stop staying up late to do the 27th redo of the intro. That's totally not a true story. This idea wheel is the formula Mrbeast uses to get an unfair advantage of ideas on his video. But good ideas can rarely alone carry a successful video. The second stage to the Mrbeast blueprint is his irresistible packaging. Mrbeast does not stop talking just how much he cares about his packaging.
we probably spend around $5,000 to $10,000 a thumbnail, just making sure we get the right image and it's good. Because like the thumbnail makes the difference between 50 million views or 200 million.
There are 3 bullets to create perfect packaging: the thumbnails, the titles, and the intros. But what most people get wrong is they mess up one or the other. Mrbeast thumbnails are some of the best on YouTube. His face is always included to take full advantage of the brand. The image is always enhanced to get the attention of the viewer on the home page. And once they grab that attention, the thumbnail always promises something crazy insane that the viewer can't leave without watching. The thumbnails always use complementary colors to create contrast from the main thing over the background. And the colors are also used to create the correct feeling for the rest of the video. For example, in all of his luxury videos, he uses the shiny white and gold for the main colors. Meanwhile, in his action videos, he puts more focus into the reds, yellows, and greens to add more danger and excitement. The colors are very specifically chosen to make the thumbnail stand out and create a perfect feeling for the viewer. He also tries to limit the colors to 2 or 3 so that he can get the best effect from them. Mrbeast also usually tests different thumbnails to see which one works the best. For his car video, he changed the thumbnail 5 or 6 times before settling on this one. In fact, I have a screenshot of one of the previous versions that he was debating over. But Mrbeast knows that titles are just as important to getting clicks as thumbnails. He puts just as much effort to make sure that the title matches up and complements the thumbnail well. He makes his titles short and simple, purposely to add curiosity and white space for the viewer to predict what happens next. He talks about how he wants titles that are
Not just short,
but compelling, and make it so that
if someone reads it, do they have to watch it?
the title also perfectly complements the thumbnail. It usually creates conflict or rising action so that the viewer gets curious of the result, which is the perfect feeling you want to instill in the viewer through your packaging: curiosity. But perhaps the most overlooked part of packaging the majority of YouTubers fail at is the intro. Any YouTuber would know that the greatest dip in YouTube videos happens at the very beginning. This happens because something in the first few seconds doesn't match the expectation that the viewer had for the video. And so to ensure that this doesn't happen to Mrbeast's videos, he tries to make the intro as similar as physically possible to the thumbnail and title. In fact, the first sentence of all of his videos is just him rephrasing the title and thumbnail.
Behind me are the most expensive cars in the world.
He also tries to make the first few seconds look just like the thumbnail, also that the viewer's expectations for the video are met and they don't click off, which leads to the dip in the beginning. Take a look at the intro for his yacht video and how much it resembles the title and thumbnail.
This is a $1 billion super yacht.
But intros can't go by with just meeting the expectation. They have to hook the viewer so that they feel inclined to watch the rest of the video. Mrbeast does this perfectly with the third stage of the Mrbeast blueprint, his addictive intros. The average Mrbeast intro lasts just 20 seconds in. This is so that they can quickly enter the storyline, which is the point where the big retention dip stops and the viewers settle into the video. In those opening 20 seconds, there's so much happening that the average viewer doesn't even notice. First, Mrbeast says a statement to rephrase the video. This statement is usually a repeat of the title, like I said before, except this time he proves the statement, and he proves it quite extravagantly. Take a look at the entire intro for Mrbeast's recent car video.
Behind me are the most expensive cars in the world. No joke, we got our hands on over $250 million worth of cars. One of them even costing $100 million.
Look how he tries to emphasize the price and extravagance of the cars. Alongside making the statement, he shows the scale and luxury of the cars. And with the feeling of luxury, the action that's filled in the video is shown through the motion blur, shiny effects, all so that the viewer gets the right feeling for the rest of the video. The next thing he does in his intros is tease the entire video.
Gonna be exploding, sailing, driving, and even flying all of these cars to show you why they're so expensive.
He does this for two main reasons. The first is to prove to the viewer that what's being promised is actually going to deliver. And second is to add a feeling of curiosity to the viewer to watch the rest of the video. This is a perfect combo to make the viewer watch more. But what he does next is an absolute masterpiece of the story. In his intro, he works his way up to the $100 million car that was promised in the thumbnail, and then the rest of the video is spent working its way up back to that one main thing and putting more depth into it. This is so that the viewer only gets a sample of the video and then would have to watch the rest of it to get the full picture. Giving a sample is the perfect trick to make the viewer curious, but be careful to not be annoying about this and lose the viewer's retention. I did this trick in my own video by showing you the 5-stage blueprint blurred out and darkened, which hopefully got you curious of what the 5 steps are and what the rest of the video is filled with. And then the last thing Mrbeast does in those opening 20 seconds is set an expectation. This expectation is usually a sentence like,
And whether we like it or not, my 4 friends and I are stuck on this raft, and it's not going to be easy.
and then they start. This expectation gives you a reason to watch the rest of the video. I also used this strategy in my intro when I said, and I'ma reveal it all in this video. This expectation makes the viewer eager to watch the rest of the video, whilst it also helps with retention since they can't leave until this expectation is met. This intro formula is how Mrbeast is able to hook the viewer into watching the rest of the video. But the 4th stage of the Mrbeast blueprint is how he's able to maintain such good watch time, is a notorious perfect retention. Mrbeast averages 70% retention on almost all his videos. He does this by using 5 secret tricks to keep the viewer engaged. First, he always builds up to one main and big thing at the end of the video. This keeps the viewers looking forward to seeing something at the end, whilst also having checkpoints throughout the video to keep themselves engaged. I also use this tactic by making the top of my blueprint gold and shiny, making you, the viewer, hopefully stick around to see at the end what that gold and shiny part is and why it's so important, which hopefully works. But by building up to this main thing, it develops a reason to continue watching, rather than just showing at the moment, which is much more volatile for the viewer to click off. But in order to not keep the viewer too bored, he adds in those checkpoints, those sub-challenges, those price points, also that the viewer is constantly pumped with energy throughout the video. These checkpoints are what help keep the viewer engaged, whilst also helping build up to the main thing at the end. Mrbeast does these checkpoints by blowing up cars and racing across private tracks. But we, as cheap YouTubers, can literally just do this by making lists, numbered points, diagrams, or subdivisions. There are many ways I guarantee you can incorporate this strategy into your own content. On top of these checkpoints within the video, he tries to divide the energy as efficiently as possible possible throughout the video. This makes the viewer much more excited and fulfilled by the content, rather than it being just a few peaks at the beginning and the end. You can add excitement in your own videos too by switching up to a different topic or point, or changing the perspective on something rather than talking about the same thing throughout the video. In fact, this video that you're watching right now is just a bunch of points about Mrbeast's YouTube strategy, but by dividing it into many point subcategories and the Mrbeast blueprint, I'm able to add artificial excitement over what's to come next. Mrbeast is also a master storyteller, which helps him wonders in maintaining perfect retention. Stories are the perfect way to keep a viewer on the edge of their seats throughout the video. Each checkpoint in the video transitions into its new story arc. The entire video is filled with a web of story arcs to make the video so much more engaging for the viewer. On top of that, Mrbeast does something very smart by trying to incorporate the people in the video into their new own story arcs to add more story towards that character. For example, in his ages 1 through 100 video, he takes the contestants and adds their own story arc to the video. This is a genius strategy that makes the audience invested into that character. By adding these sub-characters into the main storyline, it makes it much more interesting for the viewer to watch. But he also uses the characters for something else. Most of the video, Mrbeast is actually showing what happens rather than telling. For example, in the car video, he shows how the $1 car is so worthless through the mouth of the dealer himself.
Well, you see, it's pretty much worthless.
And the footage of the wheel coming off as they were speaking, all to emphasize that the car is just kind of worthless. Mrbeast takes any opportunity to not have to say what's happening in the video. This is the perfect way to make the audience interpret that the car is worthless without actually saying it to their face. The purpose of this is to make the audience interpret things for themselves, whilst also not making Mrbeast say everything dead on, which would make the video much more dull and boring. He also uses characters like Chris, Carl, and Chandler in the video so that people don't get too sick of Mrbeast explaining everything that's going on. He tries as hard as he can to add as much variety to the video as he can. In his car video, he had multiple $1,000,000 cars that he could have used over some others. But instead of doing that, he got the cars that were different and unique from the others, and put all the $1,000,000 cars into one group, whilst adding much more time to the cars that were much more unique and interesting. This variety is what gets the viewer interested. I guarantee that he had many expensive cars in the same room, like Bugattis and Ferraris that he could have used. But just so that the viewer didn't get too bored, he decided to leave them out of the video altogether. Keeping each part of the video unique is what Mrbeast spends millions doing. All these points and many more are how Mrbeast is able to maintain the viewer throughout the video. But the fifth stage of the Mrbeast blueprint is something beyond the videos themselves. It's his compounding machine that makes his content consistently better. If Mrbeast uploads a blank video with a white thumbnail, it would no doubt get millions of views within the first few hours. This is because Mrbeast has instilled in the mind of his audience that his videos deliver. He doesn't just give what's promised, he over-delivers in every video with the quality, story, and energy he puts in. And he keeps improving his content by investing all the money he gets back into the channel. This compounding machine that consistently improves is why Mrbeast isn't just big, but is gonna get much bigger in the near future. Just a year ago, a good Mrbeast video would get 50 to 100 million views. Now that's just a bare minimum, and its average stays around 150 to 200 million views per video. With such a fast compounding machine, you can only imagine what a Mrbeast video looks like in 10 years. His snowball starting from absolutely nothing has gotten to a point where no one can even compete. And with his many companies, insanely fast growth, and multiple platforms, who knows where he'll be in the next few years. But if you liked the video, leave a sub and I'll catch you in the next one.